Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Partnership Guys podcast. Today, we're going to take a little bit of a different spin on the podcast. I'm here with Todd and Rob. Recently, Rob had some issues with another business and another partnership that he's involved with. All three of us have been involved in multiple partnerships over the year. Rob has been working on a partnership and working on a business around girls' lacrosse helmets over the past 10 or 15 years. And posted almost like an April Fool's kind of a thing on girls lacrosse helmets, and got a lot of strange pushback from that. And as we were prepping to do this podcast today, it occurred to us that there might be some interesting stuff that Rob can share about his journey in that business and his journey in those partnerships, not just the business partnerships he's worked with, but all the different partners that he's had to work with in that business. So, Rob, I don't know if you just kind of want to give a little bit of background on that and talk a little bit about what you've been going through over the years and trying to roll this thing out.
Yeah, definitely. So what you're referring to is it was an April Fool's joke that somebody posted. It's a really big company. There were a ton of likes of the post, and I had a number of people text me, email me the post, and the post basically was an April Fool's joke by a big lacrosse company. And the joke was that USA Lacrosse, the governing body, was mandating helmets and gloves in girls lacrosse. And the brief history of girls lacrosse is that traditionally they don't wear headgear. There was never headgear until I came along. And the 10-second story is I had a good friend who was a coach of girls lacrosse. My girls all played sports, soccer, basketball. She kept saying to me, give me a week or two with a stick in their hand and I can show them how to play lacrosse. And my girls just weren't interested. And then my two youngest came and said they want to play lacrosse. I knew nothing about the sport, but I went to the field and the boys were on one field wearing big hard helmets to protect their heads, and girls were right in front of me. And when I asked where are their helmets, the answer was, oh, girls don't wear helmets.
Which is crazy that the boys wear helmets, but the girls don't.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a different rules, and that's been the crutch for, people who have been around the game for a long time, don't want to see the game change, is that the girls' game isn't the checking sport the boys' game in. Having said that, I hear from so many girls, parents, coaches, just one accidental ball stick to the head is what we're talking about, and it impacts lives forever of young girls. And what I was telling you was that I saw that post and it elicited anger in me. I was really angry that a big company can post something that is an April Fool's joke about protecting girls' heads and hands, by the way, in girls' lacrosse. And unfortunately, that is where we are. I coached all four of my daughters in, like I said, those sports: basketball, soccer, softball. I saw how girls right in front of me were treated as compared to how the boys are. And this post was no different to me. So it elicited a lot of different emotions in me. And as I was telling you before we decided to do this, it was the great partners I've had in this journey that I called right away. And the ones who didn't see it, I showed them the post. The ones who sent it, I talked through it. And it's with their support and they're being around this and supporting me. One is Sean Springs, ex-NFL player. That was one of my first calls. I called my wife, of course. I called my good friend Jared, who's been in this journey. And Sean, Jared, and my wife all said the same thing. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. And to have that support of partners, I don't know how I would do it if it was all in my own head. So part of creating the first ever girls lacrosse headgear, which is what we did, an unbelievable partnership. Sean and his headgear technology is amazing. What we did as partners was we created the first ever girls lacrosse headgear. So it was very challenging. It's basically a standard calling for soft headgear to withstand that stick and rock hard ball impact. And it was hard to do. So it took us four years or so to create it. And that was before even getting it on heads and out on fields, and the ups and downs of creating it, the passing tests and then making changes for aesthetics based on those passing scores, and then going again and getting failing scores and realizing that your first score was erroneous. It was erroneous pass, and just a year of time, energy, money down the drain. How could I have possibly gotten through that without the support of great partnerships? And the answer is I couldn't. There's no way I could have. I would have given up long ago. And then along the line, I would just created more and more and more partners. And a lot of my partners now are girls who have suffered from head injuries, who are now grown up and still suffer daily. I have one relationship with a girl in Florida who I talk to every once in a while. She 7 shots to the back of her neck to alleviate the migraines that she gets on a consistent basis. And it's gotten a little better, but it hasn't gotten better. I've connected with the doctors, so many girls' parents, and they become partners, business partners. And when I say business, this is the business of getting girls' heads protected. That's the mission. We all align and share in that mission that the business is getting girls' heads protected. Anybody who looked at this as a business, and I've started many of them where the financial is the motivation, this isn't it. This is truly a mission-driven, I've said it, I just want to see all girls playing the great sport of lacrosse with their heads protected. I see it happening, I envision it, and I couldn't be the only one. I need these great partners, great friendships, great allies, meeting parents, coaches who are aligned. We created the Brain Safety Alliance, www.brainsafetyalliance.com, has all the facts about why these girls should be wearing headgear. There are 2 major studies that show girls high school lacrosse as the 2nd highest concussion sport to only football.
Wow,
think about that.
crazy.
That's what I saw when I came home from that field.
Crazy.
I started to Google girls lacrosse helmets, and I saw 2 studies, major studies, football, girls lacrosse.
So you've got these business partners, of course, in the business, this Hummingbird Sports business. And you've got these other partners that are stakeholders and interested parties in getting girls to wear these helmets. Those are some of the girls you were talking about that got injured and things like that. You've got partners like parents of athletes. You've got partners that are the coaches. You've got partners that are the athletic directors and the lacrosse association and all that. From my understanding, this has not yet been mandated for girls lacrosse to wear helmets. Whereas boys lacrosse it is required. What's the pushback? I mean, why?
I would say the crazy thing is it might be different rules and there might be different genders, but it's the same ball. And these girls are getting better and better and more athletic and stronger and quicker. And I've played lacrosse. It'll take you out. One hit to the head will take you out. It's a rock and it's traveling at a very, very fast pace. It was, just watching you, Rob, on this journey. It's just been amazing to watch, but it's been more amazing to see, or more baffling anyway, to see the pushback that you got from the outside forces on this for something that seems so natural, especially in the state that we're living in at this point, where everything's about protection. I don't understand the pushback that you're getting, because a lot of these coaches are parents. A lot of these athletic directors are parents, and they're the ones that are pushing it back. Now, you would ask, are there kids in the sport anymore? Or, have they ever been injured? Who knows? But the fact that it is something that is not being mandated yet, to me, it's mind-blowing.
It's going to get there. It just takes time. One of the analogies I give is if you're a skier, if you went to a ski slope 15 years ago and went to a good skier and said, hey, put on a helmet, they would have looked at you and said, get out of here. I'm a good skier. I've been skiing forever. Go find a kid to give it to, or somebody who doesn't know how to ski. Flash forward 15 years later, you go to a ski slope and skiers are wearing helmets.
Hockey helmets.
Hockey.
Another great example.
Goalies in hockey were not wearing helmets. It's going to happen. The script has been written. There's resistance on all levels. But, quick story is it took us 4 years, a lot of money, a lot of time. We didn't know if we were ever going to pass this standard. It really calls for a soft headgear that you can squeeze to withstand that stick and rock hard ball impact at very high speeds. These girls, I love that part of it, that the girls are shooting the ball so much faster now. They're running faster. The game is faster. I love that. For having 4 daughters who are all athletes, and it's just amazing. It took us 4 years to make it, and I had this headgear, a lot of money, out to make it. So proud of it. And we signed up for LaxCon, which is the biggest lacrosse convention of the year. And yeah, we had a lot of people come up to us and say, I appreciate what you did. I've seen so many bad head injuries. But there were a few coaches who had been around the game for a long time who were just nasty. And I was there with Sean, with my friend Jared, with my wife Julie, with a couple other great friends, my friend Shane, who I'm a business partner in a lot of different things. He was going to be there to support. And we all knew that we were doing the right thing. We knew why we were doing it. And that resistance only fed us to understand that we were on the right page, that we were doing the right things, and that we had to move forward, and we had to move forward together and support each other in any way we could. And I've just gotten just a tremendous amount of that. It continues to grow. So when I saw that post and I posted it, the response that I got was incredible. I don't focus on the one or two or three people who are resistant, who don't understand, who, or think that the game's going to change if you put headgear on girls. I focus on the 99.9% of other people who encourage me to keep going, and I consider them all partners too. But my partnerships that I've had who have been through this or were at that LaxCon with me and saw the resistance firsthand of the way that people were talking to us and looking at us, who had been around the game forever. And this was the first headgear ever to be put on, certified headgear to be put on a girls' lacrosse field. The USA Lacrosse's reaction has been to keep it optional. And what has happened is you go to a field of 120 girls, and it's really difficult for one girl to make that decision to say, I'm going to be the only one. There's going to be 119 girls not wearing a headgear, but I'm going to choose the option to wear. But what's happening is even grassroots, some of those girls, and it starts usually typically with the better players who unfortunately have gotten hit in the head, have suffered one injury or two head injuries. Those are the girls who are leading in grassroots. It is common.
And it would have been easy, I'm sure, years ago, just to keep getting knocked down, if you were by yourself, just to say, forget about it. I don't have the energy. I don't have the time. I don't have the support to be able to do this. But you've built these partnerships over the years. And from what I'm hearing you say is that that's really been critical in being able to stay in the game, so to speak, and really kind of keep promoting this thing.
Everything.
That's a great story. I mean, it's a terrible story, but it's a great story about partnership.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I couldn't do it alone. I couldn't do it with only a couple partners. I need a lot of really strong, dedicated partners in this, and I attribute everything that we're doing. And the day that I can go to any girls lacrosse field and see that every girl is wearing a headgear, and my partners can too, that's when we'll know that the mission was truly worth it. And like I said, it's happening grassroots, and I'm really proud of that. The state of Florida mandated headgear. Tons of schools in Florida wearing the headgear that we created. I take a lot of pride in that, but the true mission is to get it mandated so that girls don't make a decision of whether they want to wear, choose to wear. It's just that's what it is. And I want to see that number 2 ranking of girls lacrosse and concussion rates go down.
With all your learnings, you ended up writing another book about this, correct?
Yeah, I wrote a book about it. It was one of those things that people kept saying to me was write a book. I was getting the New York Times writer Bill Pennington wrote 3 great articles. One of them had a full page picture of my daughter wearing, a lot of different news outlets ran the story, and it was advised of me about 7,000 times that I should write a book about it. And finally, when COVID hit, I sat down and I actually wrote the book. The yellow tab, and then I would type it in and try to read my writing.
Old school.
Yeah, old school. And, I put a ton of references in and referenced the science and the doctors who are in agreement that it needs to be. And I put in all the great partners. I put in stories from girls, parents who had suffered, and I consider them partners. They always check in on how's it going, any what's the progress. And they send me articles of what they find when teams mandate. The individual teams are mandating all over the country, saying, and it usually comes from a couple girls suffering, major head injuries, and then a parent or 2 or 3 looking online and saying, hey, there's headgear out there. People don't even know it's a thing until, unfortunately, after 2 or 3 head injuries happen, and then they say, hey, did you know that there's headgear out there? And the answer is yeah. So, and there's a reason behind that, and that is the resistance. There's clear resistance here. There's been clear resistance here, and it's coming for sure, and it's with
you're not going to plug it. You're not going to plug it, but I will. It's called "It's a No-Brainer." It's a great book. Anybody who has daughters, or just children in general, or have been impacted by this, really should read it. It is a very, very good story with tons of reference in there. It's not like you're just making this up based on the fly. On the fly, you are You have done your research, and we've met some of the people that you have helped after the daughters were hurt, and it's an honorable thing that you're doing. It is a causal based business. I know it's not about the money for you. It's just about the success and getting these girls protected. So it's a no-brainer by Rob
And I love
Stoker.
this. Thank you so much for sharing this. I love this story because this is a great example of how a partnership can save a business, right? Having a strong partnership can save the business, because it would have been easy if you didn't have good partners or you weren't close with your partners or had a strong relationship, that it would have been easy just to give up on this. And this is important. You're literally trying to save lives, and having that partnership being able to keep you going and keep you pushing forward to try to get this thing done is amazing. I mean, it really shows. And we talk about this all the time, how important it is to have a strong partnership. And you can have a successful business, but we don't really talk about, well, what happens if you don't have a strong partnership and your business is struggling, right? It's down the tubes. But this is a good example of how that strong partnership has really made a huge difference in being able for you to, and your partners being able to continue on this mission. And I know for sure that you guys will eventually succeed with this.
Appreciate that. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Todd. Thank you for your support, as always.
Always, awesome. Buddy. Listen, we're not associated, Steve and I are not associated with Humminbird Sports, but you are our partner, and it's more than just who's on the masthead there. It's the people you surround yourself with. It's your authenticity builds that trust, and that's why, you're getting the momentum that you're getting. It's really been, an honor to watch over the last 5-10 years.
If people are interested in helping, can they go to like hummingbirdsports.com or anything?
Yeah, sure. Humminbird Sports is a great place to go. The Brain Safety Alliance, www.brainsafetyalliance.com. That's the one that has all the coaches, doctors, girls' stories. It's all what I put in my book. You can go on Amazon and buy it. It's a no-brainer. And it's part one of a book, because part two is the second part of the book is going to be after every single girl in the country wears. I look forward to writing that for sure.
Awesome, man. Go get them.
Looking forward to reading it, man.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It, guys. Thank you, as always.
Well, thanks for sharing, Rob. Really appreciate it. Todd, Rob, and I are happy to discuss this stuff. We want you to check us out at thepartnershipguys.com. I mean, you can see our podcasts on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. So thanks so much for listening today. Check out humminbirdsports.com. Check out thebrainalliance.com. Is that what it is?
Brainsafetyalliance.com.
Sorry, brainsafetyalliance.com. And we will talk to you next time. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.